Okay, so this is the warning. I'll just leave it up so you can read it. But basically, what it says is amazing profit potential, large risk if you don't use good money management. Um, don't use money that you need for rent or car payment or something like that. You can read it. But just to make sure, since I'm recording this one, I like to put the warning up every time. Now let's get going over to the fun stuff. So what we're going to be taking a look at today is a 1-minute system called THV. It was put together by a group called Cobra Forex and a guy named Stratman. He's a coder. Relatively easy system. I like it because of the simplicity of it and because it's quick in and out trades. So like me who trades off the 15-minute and 1 hour, sometimes those trades can drag on and on. This one lets you avoid news, so you can get in and out of trades in between news releases. And it's pretty simple to use. I mean, a lot of people... Yeah, I'm going to send that link up right now, Roman. Give me a sec. A lot of people, their skills on price action are not that strong. This one, basically, other than swing high, swing low, you really... Price action's taken care of for you by using the Heineken Ashy candles. They kind of tell you when weakness is approaching, and I'm going to cover that in a bit. You can see it does use a little bit of itchy. That's the blue thing. Let's get that Dropbox link going real quick so y'all can install. There we go. Okay, so if you're watching the recording, then just check in the description for this link. There's a zip file in there. All you need to do is... Let's go into it real quick. That is... Hey, Alfred. That is the Dropbox link. So in it, you are going to have EA NDTPL. Did I screw up? Okay, if you go into Indy, you're going to see one that's called Pipware Suite version 7.02. You'll need to copy all these indicators into your folder, and then you'll need to open this one up. And he has this set up old school. Ignore the templates here. There's some fun stuff in there for you to take a look at. But if you go into experts, then indicators, ignore the fact that it says experts. These are all the other indicators you'll need to copy over in there. Yeah, we started, but we haven't gotten anywhere yet. We're just going over how to install it. So the easiest way to install an indicator is just go to File, and then go to Open Data Folder. And then from MQL4, go to Indicators. This is where you're going to copy everything. Now, the templates we're not going to touch. So everything will go there from... Now, the other one you'll need to do... And where am I? It does have an EA in it, which is called Auto Stop 2. So you'll just go back out to MQL4, Experts, and that is where Auto Stop 2, it will go into your Experts folder. And again, I'm recording this, so you can always go back and pause it and follow along that way. The template that I'm using is right here. It's called Intro 1M, and you can load up the template from there. And then just save it as whatever you want to name it. But again, because this one, it's some of my indies that I added to the system to make things a little bit easier. So all these, except for the Pipware Suite, need to get copied over. And again, to make it easy, you just go File, Open Data Folder, look for the MQL4 folder, and then go into Indicators. And then you'll need to copy everything in this folder except the Pipware Suite zip file into here. Once you've copied that, go into the Pipware Suite. Go to the one that says Experts, which it's not, it's just the guy labeled it wrong. And then go into Indicators and copy all these into here. And then load up the template. And that is in the TPL folder. And that'll get you loaded up. Okay, So, the system itself is pretty freaking simple to use. It's made up of, let's go back to the indicators list now that y'all have them and you can catch up with the recording. Ichimoku with some odd settings. It's using 2, 3, and 5. Don't worry about it. It's just part of your setup. The Pipware THV Coral. This is the line that's on here, and I'll make it a little bit thicker real quick. I'm going to make it thick for the video. I prefer it at 1, but for the video so you can see it. It's this line. Don't get confused. All this is a moving average. It's a fancy moving average with different colors. It turns red, yellow, and green. So, moving average, that's all you need to know about it. We're not going to get into what these things are, what they do. New market info dark. I included light if you like a white background, but that's this information up here. Mainly you need this for the spread. Orders indicator. This comes from the marketplace. It is not in your it's not in your template pack because I can't put it in there because it's protected. It is a free indicator. To get to it, you simply go here, up at the top where it says terminal, and then down at the bottom click on market, click on applications, and over here is a little search. Here, let me scroll it up a little so you can see it better. It has a little search box over here. Just type in ORDERS and click free, and it's going to be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to be the 6th one over, called orders indicator. You should see a little screen that looks somewhat like that. And then if you want it, all you have to do, I already have it, but it'll say register MQL5 account. If you don't, you will have to register. If not, there's a download button. You click, it's going to install it for you. To get that on there, because again, that's in the template, but I can't give it to you because it's out of the marketplace, so it's protected. You click your navigator, and if you look, you're going to have a folder now that says market, and it's going to be in there, right there. So, that's how you'll add it on there. And it's just the standard settings for it. We're not using anything fancy. The only thing I do is, on the orders indicator, instead of showing profit in points, I have it set to true. You can put it false and it'll show profit in money instead. But everything else you can just leave exactly as it is. Next one, PZ support and resistance. That's in there. I tried to include MQL4 files so that you have source code of anything. That draws your support and resist. It's a fractal-based support and resist. That's really the only part of this system that is left to judgment. Everything else, you're just going to be following set rules. Inlines is optional. It is an indicator I had created for myself. It's the one that you see here. This is price. Up above it is 10 pips. Down below it's 10 pips because that's what I've set. It helps me visualize my goals when I'm trading. So if I'm going to enter a trade and I think it's going to drop 10 pips, I can see exactly where that 10 pips would be. So that it helps me make a determination on whether it's clear to run down that far. We'll get into that a little bit more. Again, that one is optional. Let's take a look at the settings real quick. The only thing that is a little bit odd is if you want to do 10 pips, you have to type in 100. So if you wanted 5 pips, it's 50. Just add an extra 0 on. You can change the line color and the line style in it and the thickness of the line. For the video, we'll do 2 to make it a little thicker so you can see it better. Again, this indicator is totally optional. If you're new to Forex trading, I do recommend it. It helps you visualize very clearly what you're getting into. Okay, so that pretty much covers it. The last indicator we have is called Pipware THV Tricks. This is tricks, 2 lines. I'm not going to get into what tricks is. This basically is going to be what tells you, it's one of the things that's going to tell you when you can get into a trade and when you can't. For the purpose of this, I am going to edit it again. We're going to make one of these super ugly and big so that you can tell the difference in the two. So now one should be thicker than the other. Let's even go a little bit farther. We'll change the colors so that we can make sure. Yeah, colors are over here. So let's go with yellow, aqua, and Dodger blue. Okay, lovely. Okay, so we're going to start at the bottom of the chart and work our way up on how to use this. Down here, you're going to have two lines. The fat one is a slower moving EMA, and the thin one is a faster moving EMA. Again, if you have any questions, guys, just ask in chat. I'll pause and answer the questions. If you're watching the recording, we have a webinar going on, so people are in a room watching. I'm not talking to myself, and I'm not crazy. Okay, so the first step in your rules is, well, yeah, I know I said we'll start at the bottom, but the coral, the EMA on your screen. I don't see any charts. Press F5 or refresh on your browser, and you should see a charts pop up. And let me know if that works. Okay, so the whole system basically, and well, I'm not going to get into that right now, is this EMA. This EMA, when it's green and price is above it, that's your first step. Price needs to be above it when it's green, and it needs to be below it when it's red. So that's step one of your rules. So as it is now, price is crossing over it, so we're in a no trade zone. This was a whole trade zone. That's your filter. We'll jump to another chart in a sec. Let me do something real quick. I hate having to use the mouse to switch charts, so... And I forgot to load this. Let me just get this set up then. I just turned it so I don't have to use the mouse. Cool. I'll post the recording up once it's done uploading. Okay, so let's go back to the one with the big green line that everything's been thick on. So this, you can see, right now that means then we'd be waiting for this line to turn red before we get into a trade because price is breaching through it. It's in a no trade zone. Your rules are for entry. Price, our EMA here needs to be green. Price above it. I'll get with you after this. For now, I'm showing it by the rules. But we'll get into that afterwards. Price green, price above, that's our first step. So that's step number one. Step number two is then we would be waiting for both of our little lines down here by the default setup to turn green. Remember, I'm using an aqua one here just for fun of it so y'all can see the difference. So if we'll walk backwards here and we'll look for a setup. So here we had green line. Price was coming up through. The fast, not the slow. The slow is the fat one. The fast, if you look over here, there's a 0.0. Let me adjust it so you can see the line a little bit better. Let's go to levels, inputs. I guess I can't edit it. Crap. Okay, well, you'll be able to see it on the recording too. But there's a little dotted line here. It says 0.0. The fast EMA, the thin one, has to... And it's an oscillator, so you're going to get repainting because it moves with price. Fast has to cross above 0. You have to have, by the standard setup, these both need to be green, which this would have been green, and price would have crossed here, and our green candle breached. Now we have green and red candles. We're going to get into candles and how they work here in a second. But this then would have been our first entry. You can either, if you're doing this aggressive, you could wait on this candle to close and then take entry here because it did close above. Or sometimes, if you're doing it aggressive, you can get it as it breaches up. Personally, I wait for it to close, and this would have been my entry candle. So let's move it. I'm going to take this line off, then I'll draw an arrow. I just wanted so you can highlight where it was. So our entry candle, this is the breach. This would have been our entry candle in. So let's go over the rules again on why that was our entry candle. Price above MA or a breach and close above MA. Next step, once that happens, is to look down here at the Trix oscillator. We don't care if the big fat one, the slower moving MA, is above 0. We do care if the fast moving MA, it has to cross over 0. The slow will eventually catch up. These both need to be green. Again, for this, I have them colored different so that you all can see the two on the video. But these both need to be green. So that's our entry. Now, I'm going to get into what I added into it in a little bit. But let's zoom in a little bit and determining how to get out of the trade. Okay, so here was our entry candle, right here. Now, with these type of candles, we talked about price action. A lot of people aren't good with price action. The nice thing about these candles, and I'm going to zoom in so they're real big, and let me turn off the auto shift. And I'll make this really, really big, and we'll go back to that entry candle. Okay, so here is the candle that was our entry. Now, the nice thing about these candles is if you suck at price action, the candles themselves will tell you when there's weakness. That doesn't mean get out, but it does let you know that there is weakness occurring in the move. So how do we know it? If it's a green candle, what you don't want to see on the bottom of these is a wick. If you see a wick forming, that's giving you an indication that there's a little bit of weakness in the run up. And this is for green candles. We'll go over red in a second. So green candle, wick on bottom, is a sign of weakness. In this particular trade, we get a red candle but that forms a wick. What I'm talking about is here's a green candle and it has a little bit of a wick on the bottom of it. Here's a green candle with a wick on the bottom of it. That shows your first sign of weakness. Now, that doesn't mean get out of the trade, because down here, our fast moving, if we were watching it normal, is still turning green. And our slow moving is still green. Our warning to get out of the trade is when the fast moving starts turning downwards towards the slow moving. And so this is strictly by the rules. I use it a little bit different because as you use it, you'll start getting the swing of it. But strictly by the rules, I first want you to be able to get into a trade and out of a trade following rules. Later on, some of these can get fudged a little bit because you'll be able to read momentum and things like that. But strictly by the rules, this was our entry candle. And if we're just watching it, let's go. Here's a weakness candle, but we're still good because there's a nice distance apart here. We have another weak candle, but we still have some distance here. They are getting closer, but we haven't seen a yellow or a red on the fast. So if we keep following these up, we start getting green candles again. Baby wick on that one, so the weakness is going away. This candle here, we're still in it, and there's no wick on the bottom. Weakness is gone. You see how this lets you you can see price action without really knowing price action. That's kind of what I like about this. It's good for newer people. Another candle here, we are showing no weakness. Another candle here, we are showing no weakness on the candle, but on our fast moving, it is turning yellow. So this candle here would be our exit candle. As soon as this candle closed, this would have started to turn yellow. So our exit would have been right here. Pretty easy. That's not a lot of pips because this is a flat market, but I just wanted to explain what you're looking for. If we look at it, let's see. Like I said, that's only about 4 pips, 3 to 4 pips that you took. But that is what you're looking for. Typically with me, I'm pulling 8 to 10 pips a trade on this. But when you first start it, it's get the concept down, and then you could screw around with it. Reason I would take more pips is I kind of ignore these rules, and my stop loss is set down here, below this swing low. And as you can see, price never comes back down to the stop loss, and it moves up to here. So I let it ride a little bit. Spread's holding at, what, 0.9? 1 and 0.9. Again, this isn't a perfect trade. I'm just showing the setups. For me, I would have been entry here, and the trade would have closed right here. Because I'm using... The trade would have closed up here. That was 10 pips, right about there. So I'm going for about 10 pips. That's why I have inline set up for 10 pips. And I set my stop loss below the previous swing low. We're going to get in that a little bit. But right now we want to show concept of what you're looking for to get into a trade. So everyone gets for a buy what you're going to be looking at. We can take a look and see if we have any more. So here we have, here's our EMA on the chart. It's green. If we're moving forward, here's our fast moving. Okay, so right here, this candle, what we're looking at, it's already above. Here's the candle. Fast moving broke through the zero line on this candle, even though it's red. If we waited, this could be our entry candle. The slow moving is also green, so we would have green and green if I hadn't altered the colors. So our entry would have been, and again, this is just by rules. I'll show how I do it in a few. The one thing I forgot to mention is the cloud. You want price to breach through the cloud. Sorry, I completely forgot about that. This is a little itchy cloud, and we want price to come through the cloud. So this would be our entry candle. It doesn't matter if it has weak at the bottom. We know it has weak, but it's still okay because everything, rules-wise, everything lined up. We don't want to enter on a red candle, but right here, that's our entry candle. Everything lined up. Our rule is above green, through the cloud, fast moving, breaches zero. I manually enter these, and then I adjust. We'll get into that in a minute. Let's just get the rules concept down, because we have some people in here that probably have never done this before. Let me fix my headset. Okay, so this is our entry candle. Rules concept, and again, I would prefer the people that don't know anything about trailing stop losses, take profits. For now, practice by the rules of getting in a trade and out of a trade by what this is showing you. It's not going to give you your maximum potential. After I get the rules set, then we're going to look at how I use it. So entry candles here. So it could be anywhere on this. If you waited for the close of this one, it would have already been here. We could have gone this entry. Exit, let's take a look. Let's follow along on the candles. This one, not any weakness on it, not any weakness. We see weakness, so let's check down here. We're still spreading apart. So all we know is there was a little bit of weakness on that candle, but these are not coming together. So we're still good to ride this trade. Next one, no weakness. Now we start seeing weakness on the candles. So that means you want to watch the trade, and you want to be ready to get out of the trade. When you start seeing the weakness candles, basically it means this is a 1 minute candle, so you're not going to be wasting your damn time. Here's a 1 minute candle with weakness. You want to watch it and see if down here your fast moving starts to dive at your slow moving. Weakness candle, weakness candle, weakness candle. I'm sorry, strong candle. This candle here, so we already know we should have been watching 1, 2, so we should have been watching the chart for like 3 minutes. That's not going to freaking kill you. If this hadn't hit 10 pips yet, then we would be ready to manually close the trade. So this candle here is going to be our exit candle. How do we know? Is one, it's freaking red, and two, after this candle closed, this line's going to start turning yellow and diving down. So let's scroll over a little bit. So this is our exit candle. So let's mark it. And again, by the rules, we're not doing this as I would do it. I'll get into that in a minute. Exit candle. So let's, I don't know, we'll take it at the halfway point. To the halfway point. 5.3 pips. Not the greatest, but at least that's 5 pips. That's the minimum I want out of trade, is about 5 pips. I'll take 3 pips, but I really want 5 pips because, like someone pointed out, the spread up here, I'm on an ECN account, and, well, this is US Open, so the spread's increased slightly, but typically my spread, and I'm on EJ, it's not the best one for spread. The spread is typically about 0.5. Give me a second, Roman, and we'll get to that. Okay, so does anyone not understand the rules of entry and when to exit? We'll look at some sells here in a second. If it's green, a wick on the bottom, weakness, then you check your fast moving versus your slow moving. Whenever you see weakness candles, you want to stay on the chart. Typically, I do this one trade at a time. I do use an EA to control my take profit and stop loss, which we'll go into in a minute. So I do use an EA, but when I start seeing weakness candles, I then manually monitor the trade and I get my ass out of it quickly. We're on the 1 minute chart, so this shit will move fast. Let's take a look at another chart real quick. I'm going to zoom in on this one. We can take a look here, and you tell me what y'all think of this one. We're going to reverse the rules here. So here is step 1. Our EMA on the main chart is red. So what are we waiting on then next? We're waiting on price to come through it and be through the cloud, which it is. So the next thing we're waiting on is the fast moving EMA. So let's go step by step. We have red EMA on the chart. Next thing we need is price to drop below with red candles and be below the cloud. So everything on our main chart is set up for us. So what do we want to look for next? Fast moving to hit the 0 line, which it did right here on this candle. Slow moving to be red also. So do we have a setup? Yes. Let's take a look here real quick. And I'm going to get into the support and resist there and how I use it too. So by our setup, this is our entry candle. Now, things I'm concerned about, we'll get into in a sec. Entry candle here. Everything lined up. This candle here was our lineup candle. This is our entry. So we were watching it, and this was our entry candle. If it's already, but yeah, you want it to close. For me, I'm conservative how I trade this. I wait for it to close below. This one closed below it barely. Good enough for me. It broke it quite healthily, but it closed below it. Now, so when we're looking at the green candles, a wick on the bottom is bad. If we're looking at the red candles, a wick on the top is a sign of weakness. So if we watch this one, this was our entry. We're starting to get green candles, so does anyone have a clue? Do we want to let it ride? Do we want to get out of the trade? What do we want to do? And this is one of the things why this, for me... Okay, so first let's go by the rules. By the rules, you could actually stay in this. The one thing I'm looking at down here, you're fast moving. If you hold it over, the little green line you see down here, this is oversold. When my fast moving hits this, which it hit it on, not this candle, so it hit it on this candle when it started to turn green. This is my sign to get out because it's hitting the oversold level. Again, I'm going to show you a little bit more how I do it and if I would have gotten into this trade or not. But by the rules, again, this is our sign to get out. See, it just turned green here. So even if you missed it hitting oversold, then now you should really know that you're getting out. So someone pointed out, KTJ, that's not a lot of pips. So the biggest thing you need to focus on with this system is getting good setups. This is our exit candle then, right here, because 1, it turned green, 2, it hit oversold. Up top, you have a red line that's overbought. Either way on that, you'd want to get out until you understand a little bit more about what we're doing. Again, get the proof of concept down, and then in a minute, I'm going to show one more sell, and then I'll show you how I do it. But concept-wise, we would have wanted to get out on that candle as it hit here. So we would have probably gotten out towards the bottom of this as this fast-moving EMA hit it. So if we check pip-wise, we would have gotten in here. Let's see, that was the close. That's 7.3 pips. Yes, it's a little... This chart has bigger candles. So we get 7.3 pips out of that trade. That's above my 5 that I'm looking for. It's not the best in the world, but it's a quick 7.3 pips in 1, 2, 3, and 4 minutes. You picked up 7 pips. Okay, let's look for one more sell, if we can find one. If not, we'll go back. I'm going to see if there's a live sell that we could take. Let's zoom in on this one and let you all decide on this one. On-screen EMA turned red. Our candle right here broke below the cloud, and it broke below our EMA, so it closed. So what I'm looking at is right here. And from here, I'm going to let y'all decide. So right there, let's go down to the bottom. Do we have a valid trade to get into here? And I will put a little horizontal line. Right there is what we'd be looking at. Do we have a valid trade to get into? Top, we have our rules set up. Yes, we did match up rules. Not on the bottom, we don't. Our fast EMA is red. It has not hit the 0 level. Our slow EMA is still green. Finally, we would have a possible entry here. What I don't like is how close they are. I prefer to see them spread apart. I also like to see the fast come up towards overbought or oversold and then come down. That's going to be one of the things that helps you get into a trade. If price isn't going overbought, oversold, and it's just kind of dipping in and out, for me that's a warning. Now this gets into a little more of not rules but a judgment call. What do I mean by if it's hitting overbought, oversold? Remember our red line and our green line. I like to see the fast moving come up, even go above it, and then drop back down, because that means we're going to have a little momentum on it. Think of it as a car going up a hill. The car is going to go up the hill. This is the peak of the hill. When it comes back down, it's going to get some speed on it. That is, honestly, you could take it as a rule if you want, but that for me is what I want to see before I get in, because then I know we have a nice chance of this thing picking up momentum and running back down, because it's going to be returning to the median, which is your zero line. And if it's overbought, oversold, it's going to snap back to it a little bit faster. So that's one thing that is going to be a judgment call on your half that you'll have to get used to. There is no system that you can do 100% by the rules out there, but this is a good rule to follow. Like, you see how this one's slightly above? If the line was red, then that's a good indication that we want to wait for the fast to come back down, but it is in a good position to come back down. Let me zoom out on this one, turn auto scroll back on. I'm trying to find one more live sell that we could look at. This one again, here we are. Red, and we're just looking at this one. So we have a red candle. It just closed below the cloud, but fast moving is on its way up, slow moving is on its way down. That is a pass. Just because the top is set up, the bottom isn't. So easy pass there. Let's see if we can go back and find one that's a setup. This one here, let's take a look at it. And I know it's easy to cherry pick these out when we're not live. That's why I was trying to look at some. But I'm trying to find some realistically that are easy setups for you to see. And let me zoom in one more time so we can make it bigger. Okay, so we have main chart. Let's go back up here and meet our main chart rules. Our EMA is red, so the next step we're waiting for is price to drop through it, which it did close here on the candle. So we have a close below the EMA. What is the next thing we're looking for? Is it below the cloud? Yes, it's below the cloud. Now, again, I said I like to see the fast moving come from the top down. This would worry me a little bit, but as long as you are aware of it, then you could still potentially take a trade. So what's the next thing we're waiting for is the fast moving to drop through zero and the slow to be red. So when does that all line up? That's the close of our candle and everything. So this here is our close. This is our entry candle. Our entry point would have been, if you were watching the chart, entry point would have been there. So let's watch the trade and see when we would probably want to get out. Remember, these are red, so if it's red, where does our weakness show? On the top or the bottom of the candle? It's red top, green bottom for weakness. So if we watch the candles, no wick on the top, no wick on the top, no wick on the top, no wick on the top. We get a slight wick on the top. That's our first sign of weakness right there. What do we have down below? It's still red and red on the close of that candle, so we have no clue that anything's going to happen yet. The next candle, what would develop is the fast moving is going to start to turn green, and you would have gotten a green candle out of it. So let's take worst case scenario, what our exit would have been then. Exit, let's say if we took it at the top right here. Worst case scenario, that's our exit. So let's see how many pips it is. Again, anything over 10 is a gimme, because that's my take profit. That's 8.4 pips. Again, not the best in the world, but it's an easy entry and exit. The system tells you when to freaking get out. It also tells you when you're getting weakness. So if your price action skills suck, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, price action takes a long time to learn. If your price action skills suck, use the wicks. They tell you what you need to know. Red wick on top, weakness. Green wick on bottom, weakness. So everyone understand the basic setup for rules. And then we're going to take a look at a couple other things that help us to avoid bad trades. This is step 1. It's just the rules. Step 2, we're going to get a little bit into what can help us, and we're going to use the support and resist to determine that, okay? So if you have questions now on the basic setup, let me know. And the basic rules. GBP USD. I don't see it. Are you on the M5 or the M1? I'm on the M1 and I don't have a signal for cable. This is M1 of GBP USD. Again, I did forget to mention this system is designed for M1 and M5. I like it on M1 because it keeps you busy and you can get in and out of trades quick. So using this on the M1 is pretty easy. Well, not easy. It'll get your repetition in quickly. One of the biggest things I say is get your repetition in quickly. Since I was a 15-minute, 1-hour trader, a lot of times I use 1 minute as a teaching tool because you can get your repetition in and get your confidence built a little bit. You always don't get the best results, but you need repetition over and over and over and over again to get your thought process down. Then you bump up to the higher time frame. This is designed for the 1 minute, so demo the shit out of it, get into it, and follow the rules. Once you have the rules down, here's what we're going to take a look at next, is why do I have these support and resist lines on here? What I like to see when I get into a trade is by using support and resist. This is going to get a little price action-y, but CAD JPY, ugh. Not touching, sir. We'll go through the charts in a second after I explain support and resist and see if we can find anything live. How your support and resist work, and this is optional for you, it will increase, in my opinion, if you use it correctly, it increases your odds of getting into a good trade. What do I mean by that? Is when price hits a support and resist, like this one here, for instance, and let me turn it off so I can explain. Is everyone familiar with swing high, swing low, fractals, support, resistance, and understand kind of how it works, or should I give a basic intro real quick? Turn off auto scroll and we're going to go back. Okay, so the keys on support and resist. Here is a resist. Now, how do we know that price isn't gonna, this was a valid trade right here. Green, this would have been our entry candle. Okay, so let me mark it. This is our entry candle. But let's take a look whether I would have taken the trade or not and how we use support and resist to help that out. So this is green, this is our entry candle, so that means we would enter at this point when this candle closes. That was the close right there. This is our entry point. Now if we got into this trade and we followed the system, we get strong candle, strong candle, strong candle, no sign of weakness, and then it drops. And most likely you would have lost money on there. So how can we avoid getting our ass handed to us like that? What would we want to wait on to confirm that this is a trade we want to get into? Any guesses? It's right here. And let me draw a line on it now. So we see here we have the dots. We got hit by support resist, right. So let's draw it on the chart. Boom. Price did hit it. Now, this is where we would have entered if we weren't watching support and resist. So what I would be looking for is I'd be watching for this candle to close above this line. If it closes above this line, then this is my entry point. Now, the reason for that is because typically if price doesn't close, once everything on here says get in a trade, if price doesn't close above a support and resist, it's probably going to get rejected and drop back down. Now, if it closes above it, that's a good indication that we have a run about to occur, or at least it's going to continue to move upwards. So what we're looking for, and let's remove this because we don't want to see it anymore. What we're looking for to improve our ITM or our whatever, our win-to-lose ratio, our risk-reward ratio, is we want the candle to close above this. Why? Because then that increases our odds that price is going to continue upwards and not get bounced off this support and resist and head back down. If we would have taken this by the rules and ignored support and resist, let's go back to it and see what would happen to this trade doing by the rules and ignoring support and resist. Our entry point's here. Now let's follow the candle along. And let's look. No weakness, no weakness, no weakness. It's reacting to our support and resist level. If you had no clue that that was on there, you'd still be in the trade. Down here we're looking. Now this one's dark green, and I would recommend maybe turning it yellow because we would have gotten a warning here on this candle to get out, but it went red, so this candle did have a warning, but it's dark green. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I would go yellow. Yellow. I screwed it up. Ignore that. I'll show you. I'll show it later. Let me reset it. Boop. Okay. Okay, so let's just go by we're following the rules. What happens is it hits support and resist. We weren't paying attention to support resist. We didn't care. Again, we want it to close above it. Then that's a good trade. But it didn't. So what would we've gotten out of? Turned red on this candle. So if you worst case scenario, we would have exited out at a complete loss because we didn't use support and resist. Oh, shut up. Sorry, my phone. So worst case scenario, we got out here and we would have taken a loss of about 4.5 pips. So that would not have well, it probably 5 pip is. We'll get into the EA in a second. But do we see how if we ignore support and resist, we'll still get some good trades, but to improve your risk-reward ratio, to improve your percentage of trades that you get into that are good, we really want to pay attention to it. So this was a bad setup because of support and resist, which is drawn on the charts for you. So wait for that close above it. So let's move on down and let's look what happens when support and resist, we do have a close outside it. Again, this isn't going to be perfect every time, but let's take a look. So here we go, support and resist. We're green, price is above the cloud. What are we waiting for? A close above support and resist. There's our close above support and resist. So let's mark it and let's follow this trade. We're going to get into take profit and stop loss again here in just a second, but let's look if we add in our support and resist rule, how that helps. So here is the close above support and resist. Now let's follow the trade. And I'm going to do this one as, well, we'll go by standard rules, and then we'll stop, and then I'm going to show with my take profit and stop loss how this trade would go for me. This is by the rules 100%. So let's get rid of this line. This is our signal candle. Entry then would be right here. And let's follow down below. We had green, price above green, price above cloud, price closed above our support and resist. Let's go down and check. We have green. It crossed way back here was actually our signal, but we held off on this trade. So our signal candle was actually this one. But because we were waiting for the cross on support and resist, that was our entry candle ignoring support and resist. But we waited a whole 2 more minutes. Oh my god, we're going to die. We waited a whole 2 minutes more to get a better probability trade is the way I look at it. By using support and resist to close above, now let's follow the trade and see where it goes. Here's our entry. So again, we're watching the bottom. We see no wick, so there's no weakness. We're still spreading apart, green and green. Let's move to the next candle. Cool, Alfred. Next candle. Do we have a wick on the bottom? Nope. Is anything happening down here? Nope. Next candle, again, do we have a wick? No. So we don't have any sign. Again, since you're on a 1 minute chart, I really do advise you to manually watch these trades. Here's our kicker. This is our next one. We go red. Immediately when this goes red, if you're following the rules, now let's leave it be for now, but if you're following the rules, this is our exit candle. So let's mark it as an exit and see what it gets us. And we'll just go midpoint where it closed. We could drop it down to here. Let's go midpoint because you're not going to catch it at the bottom. I'm doing midpoint as average because you're manually closing this, so your close is going to be somewhere in here. It could be up here, it could be down here. I'm going to take middle ground. So what do we get for pips on that? That is a whopping 3.5 pips. But you didn't lose money. You're following the rules, and you should be getting the concept of how this works by doing this. Now let's zoom out one. Does everyone get the concept there? I'm going to show you then how I would place this trade and what we'd be looking at. So we went from the basic setup to adding in support and resist. We want to breach above support and resist. Next, we're going to look at using our EA to set take profit and stop loss, and then how we adjust it once the trade is open. Before we get onto that, and that's the last step in this, before we get into that, does anyone have questions? You can see just by following the simple rules, you can get in and out a couple times and make, even if it's a 3.5 pip, but you land in 5 to 10 trades in a day. I mean, 3.5 pips isn't bad times 10. That's 30 pips. So don't worry if you're only pulling 3 pips when you're doing this. The idea is to get the concept down and replicate it over and over and over and not make bad decisions. You also want to get used to looking at this and watching the chart and saying no weakness, no weakness, no weakness, no weakness. But then you see red here and say, fuck, I need to get out, and be able to get out right away and not come back and blow the whole damn trade. So the first part, I really would recommend using support and resist and just watching the charts. We're not going to get fancy. The next part is going to get a little fancier because we're going to look at the EA. I recommend, however you're doing this, you always use the EA because it's going to put a stop loss in there for you and a take profit, and then you adjust them. If you fuck it up, at least a stop loss is in there. If you forget there's news and news spikes down, your stop loss will be in there. You always want to take profit and stop loss as soon as the trade is placed. So let's go ahead and clear these out. Now, I'm going to get into, so the expert advisor I use is a very simple one. It's called Auto Stop 2. I have it set, since I'm on the 1 minute chart, I'm using and this is not correct risk reward ratio. Again, this is to get my take profit and stop loss on the chart immediately. We are going to adjust it from there using support and resist. So 10 pip take profit, 10 pip stop loss. That's all you got to do. Now, this is our trade. So let me measure down 10 pips. 10 pips is way the hell down here. So when I open that trade, it would have put my stop loss down here. And my take profit would be, I'm going to move it at about 11 since I don't want to be all exact. And I'm going to take this green as our take profit. Does everyone understand what a stop loss and a take profit is? It's something that when you hit the little buy button, it automatically puts these on your chart. So if we have questions on what take profit and stop loss are, what does a stop loss mean? That means if price, so as soon as I hit buy, these are both drawn on the charts. If price goes to here, my trade is closed. So if I took a trade right here and news hit because I was an idiot and didn't check news, and it drops down here, it closes the trade for me. Otherwise, this trade will run until it empties your account. So you always want to take profit and stop loss the instant your trade is placed. Protect your money at all times. Take profit, all that means is when price hits it, the trade closes. Let's do 10 pips from our entry. That's actually 10 pips. Okay, so now I hit buy. What's the first thing I'm going to do? It's going to draw my take profit. It's going to draw my stop loss for me. What I'm going to do then, and this is how it would have appeared on the screen, and it's as simple as this. I'm going to show you on a different account here in a second how easy it is. You just drag it and drop it, and this is exactly how it works. It's going to be a dotted line, not a solid line. I'm going to move it up slightly below this previous swing. The take profit, I'm leaving at 10. That is my goal for a fully functional, happy, shitty trade that I get. I want 10 pips out of a 1 minute chart. I'm not greedy. I just want 10 pips. There's enough of these trades during the day that if you land 3 full 10 pip trades, that's 30 pips. If you've been trading Forex for a while, if you can do 30 pips a day consistently in a year, you'll be rich if you're using good money management. But first step, enter trade, adjust stop loss. We want the stop loss adjusted immediately. Take profit, we're not going to touch. So this trade would have moved up here. By following the rules, remember we said we got out here. If we just let it ride, and I'm not going to get into trailing stops today, if we would have just let this ride, then our exit was here. Actually, fuck, it did hit 10 pips before we even had to get out of the trade. I'm sorry, yeah, it did. So this would have been a perfect trade. It hit 10 pips right here, it hit 10 pips and closed. I totally read that one wrong, didn't I? So this was actually a perfect trade. Our entry was here, and from here to here, it was 10.4 pips. It would have closed. It was a little bit more than 10.4 actually, but we're good. But do we see? So where do we get the stop loss from? Where are we moving it up to? We're moving it up to here, to our previous swing low. Let me do something real quick so we can get ready, and I'll take some. We're gonna take some dummy trades real quick so I can show you how we adjust these things. Let's take a look at another one, and just to ignore rules now, I'm gonna show just so I can ask some questions. Not qualified. Here's our entry. Well, it was somewhat qualified. Here is our entry. What lot sizes am I using for this? I've been playing around with it for the last week. I started off at 0.01 and I'm up to a full lot, just having fun. I'm not having issues since it's only one lot. I'm not having issues getting filled. I'm still a little bit nervous about using it because I'm an itchy trader by nature, I guess you could say. I'm an itchy trader for the last 18 months, and I use the 15-minute and 1 hour. But I've been playing with this one, and it's really easy to use. That's why I figured I would show it so that other people can do it. I mean, 2 days ago, and don't take this the wrong way, 2 days ago for Asia, I freaking had 9 beers in me, and I pulled 38 pips. I dropped my lot sizes way down, but I was still playing with it and it's fun. And the other people that I've had using it have had good results with it. If you look on FOREX Factory, I'll give credit to who made this. Well, I already did, Cobra Forex and Stratman. This thread's been alive for almost 1.5 years, 2 years of people using it. So it's an easy system, and what I like about it, and I'll get back on subject here in a second, what I like about it is by using I need a beer now that I talked about it, the Heineken candles, is I like because people without price action skills can just look at the candles and see weakness. Like, there's a weakness candle, we have a wick on the bottom. Here's a red candle, we have a weakness, there's a wick on the top of it. It makes people with limited price action skills be able to jump in and start getting the feel for scalping. So that's why I was kind of excited about it, because the rules are simple. You have 2 safeties. You have the wick weakness showing, and you have your fast-moving tricks line down here showing you weakness. So it gives people 2 opportunities to know when to get out. I'm assuming, KJT, you know how to trade Forex, because your questions have been pretty spot on Forex. Entry is easy. What's the hardest thing about Forex? And excuse my language, it's your fucking exit. This system gives people a reason to exit, and typically what I've seen from the system is the exit's good. It'll keep them in a little bit of profit. Now, you, most likely, since you have more experience from the way it sounds, you'll probably be able to pull more pips out of this. But for the newbies, if you want to call them that, they can get in this and pull out a couple pips a day, and even as long as they're using good money management, they should be fine. I'm going to show a little bit more advanced in this next week with using a trailing stop on how to protect your trade. I'm not a big fan of trailing stops because they cut into my profit, but on 1 minute, can't hurt you. So this is just, I'm not saying setup or anything. This isn't up a trade, a buy. So as soon as I hit buy on this, it's going to draw my stop loss down here, like 10 pips down. Any idea now, and this is my entry candle. Ignore the rules. I just want to see if anyone has grasped the concept of where this stop loss goes immediately after the trade's open. So this is our entry candle. Ignore the rules. This is our entry candle. I hit buy. My stop loss appears down here. My EA is going to draw it for me, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. Where does this stop loss get moved to? Where should I immediately drag it to? And this is to protect your investment. The 10 and 10 that I'm using is just to get it on the chart quickly so that I can position it. Where do I want to move this stop loss to? Anyone? We have 2 swing lows here, or 2 supports here. So why not, instead of taking them, you can take it here if you're being conservative, or take it here. Or you could just drop it right here in the damn middle. Your stop loss immediately gets moved up to here. Your take profit again, 10 pips up, leave it be. Right under the support zone, previous swing low. There, y'all got it. Perfect. So the idea is we're using the EA to draw our take profit and stop loss for us, so we immediately are protected. I see a lot of people get into Forex and then they let the trade run, and then all of a sudden they realize it's going south, and then they're fumbling with getting a stop loss in there, then it drops below that, and the risk reward shot, money shot, and they're pissed off. So let me jump over here real quick. Okay, so let me flip through these real quick and see if I can find one. Okay, let me load the EA on here, and I'm going to show you the EA live real quick. So auto stop, it's set at 30. We're going to do 10. And just so you can see how it works, ignore the fact that there's a trade. We're ignoring the rules. I'm showing how the EA works because, again, guys, remember, we have some people in here that have no freaking clue. And let's do chart offset. We'll zoom in a bit. Okay, so let's assume the fact we have red, red, it's touching. Not a good setup, guys. I'm showing you the EA. So we're going to say this is a trade. I'm going to hit sell. Okay, so immediately what appears on the chart? We have a red line here. If you look to the left, it tells you what it is. TP is take profit. Up above it, SL, stop loss. Let me put PZ on here so that we can then adjust it to where we want it. PZ. Okay, so up top is our stop loss. We entered here. Where does the stop loss need to get it brought into? All you have to do is hold the mouse over it. It will get a little up and down arrow. So this is our stop loss. I am dragging it now. It's as simple as that. You don't got to enter no damn numbers. You don't got to do shit. Drag it right there in between. We have a swing. We have a resist and a resist. Drag it in between. Our stop loss is now placed. It's that easy. Instead of going into modify order, going in, and then I have to freaking go to stop loss and type it in, the EA lets us get it on the chart, and then by simply dragging the damn thing with your mouse, you hold your mouse over it, drag that bitch around to where you want it, and drop it. That is it. Next week we are going to get into money management. Sorry, I saw Skype on my phone. I guess people came in late and they didn't remember that I didn't have Skype open. We're going to get into money management with this next week. All I want, if you're going to use this, is to practice, practice, practice. Get the rules down, follow them, and see how you can do with it. Now, what we're looking at here, when price hits this, it automatically closes the trades for us. That's how we're protecting our money. If this wasn't here, price could just shoot up and fucking your account's blown. The first steps we need is repetition, so you can get the rules down. Let me throw orders indicators on here for you, because that's going to be on your chart, so I can show you what happens with that's on here. And I'll save this as a template. Where the hell? Market orders. True. Okay. So I'm going to go through and just blast a bunch of trades onto these charts. Let me save this as a template, just so you can see what everything does all together. I'm going to create a thread for this. If you all want to post your trades up and want questions on them, feel free. Post them to, I think Roman has a Forex group that you can jump into, and you can post your trades there if you want questions answered on them. Just tag my name in it. Save template before I load it. Yeah, that would help. Okay, so we're going to put it all together so you can see what happens every time you have a trade. Now, template. Okay, so not a good one. I'm going to try and at least see if I can find something half decent to take real quick. Next week we'll trade it live. I'll trade it live on a real account with you using real money management everything. I will explain it a little bit. This can be used on M1 and M5. For your repetition purposes, I would say use it on the M1. You're going to get more practice in on the M1 than you will the M5. I'm just loading up templates and we'll jump through charts real quick. And I'm going to show you what happens on every single trade that you need to be aware of. So we have red, red, it's touching. We'll assume that this is closing below. This is almost a setup, but we will look at it. We have plenty of room from where price is down to our swing low. That is 15 pips, so we don't give two shits really about the swing low. I didn't get to cover that. We have room for this to drop 15 pips. So let's do a sell. Immediately what's going to happen is here's our take profit. it brings in it slightly above. That's what I mean by we need room to run. This trade has room to run down to here. It's above this swing low. Now our stop loss is up here, 10 pips. We could drag it up to here. 10 pips is our max, so we don't really want to. If anything, and this is where it's going to get a little bit tricky on the 1 minute, because risk to reward ratio on the 1 minute is a pain in the ass. Next week, like I said, I'm going to get into it a little bit more. Again, if we were doing it by the book, there's a swing here, but it's already breached below it. We could drag it up to here, but that puts our risk reward ratio way out of whack. I'm not going to get into it right now. I'll just drag it down to where it was. But I just wanted you to see the EA. Now what you see here is a red dot. Let me zoom in. That red dot is your orders indicator. What's going to happen is it's going to mark all your trades, where they opened and where they closed, so you can go back and review your charts. How do you do that? Once the trade is closed, right-click on the chart, save as picture. I go active chart and post image. What's that going to do then? Watch, it won't work. Fucking MQL5 screws up a lot where it doesn't come up. It should open up a browser with a copy of the chart. Just copy and paste that link into a spreadsheet, a Word document, whatever, so you can go back and review your trades. You can also share the link onto forums or Facebook or whatever, showing the trade to anyone else. Template. We must have news right now. Does anyone have news indie up? Because I'm seeing a big spiky. Again, just so we can see what happens, here's green, we're above, let's do a buy. Our EA is going to kick in. 1 minute chart, and this is, am I set for 10 pips? This is a 1 minute chart, 10 pips. That's a big move on 1 minute charts. 5 minute, we'll go over again how to adjust our pip size. We do change up a little settings. The higher the time frame, the more pips that are possible, the less setups you get. 1 minute for practice, I highly recommend. This is, I'm guessing there's news. Again, I'm just trying to show the EA so you can see, and the orders indicator. Okay, so it's set, again, by the rules we'd jump back to a swing low. For now, we're ignoring that. I'm just showing you how the EA works so you don't get freaked out when shit starts popping up on your chart. How do we know what this is? On the left, it tells us stop loss, take profit. This was almost a setup-ish. For me, remember, this would not have been in, because why? What is lacking from this setup? Didn't breach here. Look at this resist up here. We got to close above it. So price is here. Now we're looking at a better setup. I mean, this is sometime, basically for me, this would be my candle I'm watching for entry now. If it closes above here, that means we have a potential run up to my 10 pip mark. If there's news right now, this all goes out the window. You shouldn't be trading during news. That's why I like the 1 minute system, though, is you can dodge around news. With intraday trading on the 15 minute or 1 hour, you can't say news is coming and you're 10 pips down and exit. You gotta fucking hope and ride it out. I try and have all my trades closed before news. So this candle here, if it closes above, that means we probably have a run up. If it closes below, say this area right here, we're probably going to see it drop back down. So this is going to be a good running live example of, if this closes above, I'll bet someone $10, I get my 10 pips. Or I get damn near close to my 10 pips. If it closes below this line right here, so let's mark it. And boop. So if it closes above here, I say I get 10 pips. If it closes below here, I say it bounces back down. This is how important the swing high, swing low, your support and resist is. That's drawn on there for you. It's not like you're going to have to guess this shit. It's drawn on the chart for you. So there it is. And after this is done, go ahead and get questions in, guys. After this is done, we'll let this trade run so you can see what I'm talking about. How important swing high, swing low, support, resist, fractals, whatever the fuck you want to call this. This is really how important it is. The only thing that could come out of this that you can't determine is if price closes almost on the dot, we'd get what's called an ambiguous candle. I don't know if any of y'all used to watch Saturday Night Live. They had the ambiguously gay couple, whatever the hell you want to call it. An ambiguous candle means it's not giving us enough information to make a decision. If we get an ambiguous candle, wait it out. Unless you have a shit ton of momentum, but for now, ambiguous candle, wait it out. If we get a close below it, it's a no trade. A close above it, jump in. So, fuck, I'm on the 5 minute. This isn't going to go as quick as I thought. What do we have? We have 7, so we have 2 minutes left. Any questions while we wait on the close of this candle? See what we can do. And this is what pair? So if you want to watch this on your own computer, this is USD JPY. I'm expecting a run up if it closes above this point. And you can watch it once the webinar is done if you want to see how important the crap is. I'm going to post this up with the templates. It's recorded. Follow the beginning of the recording to be able to see how to set this all up. The rules are in it. Everything's in it. Next Friday when we do this, we're going to jump a little bit more. But that's going to give you plenty of time to buy the rules. And don't break the rules. Do it by the rules and see what you get out of the system. I think you'll be surprised. Key points to remember. You validate rules first. You need your green, price above the cloud. Then we drop to the bottom. We wait for the fast to break 0, and the slow must be green. Then we have entry if there's 2 ways to look at entry. Why? Because it gives the people that have no freaking clue about price action an easy way to see weakness in the candle. Remember, when we're looking at the candles, what do we see on red with a wick on the top? That's a weakness candle. Not a weakness, little bit of weakness, ton of fucking weakness. Here's our green, little bit of weakness because there's a wick on the bottom, little bit of weakness. Strong candle, no wick. This is a strong candle, no wick. So you see why we're using it now? It's designed to help people that have don't take it the wrong way for y'all that don't. It's designed for people who have no fucking clue what price action is to be able to make some sort of judgment on weakness and strength of the candle. You can look at a candle and tell by how it moves, I'm guessing, whether it's a strong candle. Yeah, I mean, you see how it's simple, though, that some people should be able to do good with this? So it's 1 minute. Price is right here. It's below my mark. So what do I think is going to happen? But by the honey candle, it's above it. So we'll see. It has never been tested on a longer-term trading, Roman. It has been tested over a year, manual trading, like I'm doing now, on 1 and 5 minute only. From what I understand, results on longer term weren't that great. It was designed for a 1 minute, 5 minute, which really fits into, and not being rude, it fits into the binary option mentality. Plus, it lets you on a shitty binary options day jump in and still get some freaking trades, because we all know some days binary options just suck ass. There's nothing to trade because the market isn't moving. Let's take this out. That was the close of the candle. Here is our support and resist. So it closed, here's our support, and here's one above it too. The candle did close above, so what do I expect then? Is it to continue upwards? It depends on the person, but anyway, we still have a fully qualified trade. It closed above. This would have been our entry, and we're running it up. So this is UJ, guys. You can watch it on your own charts and see if it goes up. Some of the questions I did have, can you use this for binary options? I personally would not. I use this as an alternative because if you're trading binary options and your system is sucking for the day, what do 90% of the people do? They don't give two shits. They just continue trading. If you have an option to not trade binary options and you can drop down to something else that's still going to be fast-paced and let you get in and out and have several trades a day, then you're not going to be trading binary options on a shit day. You have an alternative to switch to, so you're not going to be focusing on it. Get out of your... Even if it's switching to a different damn system, which most people don't, they're so freaking hard-headed that they won't get out of it. Yeah, so what this does is this is a simple enough system that if you go through and review the video, this is a simple enough system because a lot of people getting into binary options are clueless about Forex. They think it's too complicated. Simple enough system that you can get into it and out of it and still be learning. So I do highly recommend give it a try. I think, Roman, you do have a Facebook group where people can post trades to. I will post up the video, the link, and everything, and then, Roman, if you want, you can post it there so people can post copies of their trades. That way, you can see what other people are taking trades and how it's working for them. I mean, it's very simplistic. It's one of the only systems on 1 minute or 5 minute that I've ever seen that I've felt confident enough about to show other people. I'm going to be and lastly, since this is a recording, remember, I didn't come up with this. It's Cobra FOREX. I want to give them credit. Cobra FOREX and Stratman. Stratman made, he's a really good coder. He makes the mini charts and things like that. But this is a simple, easy system to use. I love it, man. If you can trade, I like it because I can trade Asia with it. And Asia typically for me is too flat, but on the 1 minute, there's enough movement on Asia to trade it. Any other questions, guys? Again, I'm going to post all this up after I upload everything. And Roman will post a link to, so you can post up the trades. Yep. Questions. Let's hear them. Yeah, it's the first time I've traded Asia in like a year. Well, if price bounced from fractal, I look for it to clear the fractal or the support. I want it to close above it. If it bounced, then I'm ignoring. Next week we'll get into the MA. The MA, this thing, once you get used to the system, or if you have some price action skills, this thing can go bye-bye. The coral, you can take it bye-bye. But we're not going to get into that. Remember, we got a bunch of new people here, so I don't want to screw up their heads. It's better to have strict rules and learn it, and then go lax on the rules and see if you can do it. And if you can't, get your ass right back to strict rules. But what I'm saying, and some people were asking, is this moving average line here. Once you get good at this, this can go, and it gives you more trade opportunities. But you need to know some price action. You need to know how to read your charts. But for now, stick by the rules. I will post the video up. If you came in late, I'm not going to recommend any Forex broker. I don't recommend brokers to anyone unless you're a U.S. trader trading binary options. I say Markets World. I can say FXCM is I'm not recommending them, but I will give you some ones that give good price feeds and spreads. Trader's Way, the spread is okay. As you can see, it's fluctuating on an ECN account. Owanda, for U.S. traders, if you're actually going to be putting in a big chunk of money, they're okay. They do not have good spreads. 2-pip spread there with commission built in. With no commission, it's built into the spread. If you are not in the U.S., you can get some extremely good spreads, and I'm not recommending brokers. I'm telling you about the spread situation. Armada, I believe, for non-U.S. traders can get you a freaking awesome spread on the majors. Like this is a major this is Euro USD. I get 0.01 to 0.06 to 8 typically as my spread. If you don't know what a spread is, just go to an easy way to decide it. My FX book, and this is going to round it up. But since y'all asked, we'll toss it in. If you go to my FX book. And this will help you out. Up at the top it says brokers, Forex broker spreads. Once decided what a legit broker is, and ask on the Facebook group about them. What you can do then, once you've figured out, I only trade majors. I do not trade exotics and minors a little bit. I stick to majors. Since I have dropped exotics and minors out of my portfolio, my performance has gone up. So stick to majors if you're new. Majors being like cable, Euro USD, USD JPY, AUD USD, things like that. Those are your majors. Just Google major Forex pairs, and it'll list you the majors, the minors, and then they have exotics. Stay the fuck away from exotics. The spread on exotics can be 2 pips, then jump up to 20 pips. It is ridiculous. Back to what I was showing you, my FX book. Once you've decided on your brokers, ask around, see what people use, what they've been able to withdraw from. Go to my FX book. Up at the top corner, it's going to say brokers, Forex broker spreads. It's going to show you what the spread currently is. This isn't like blah. This is the current spread. Now, so what can you do with this? Then you pick out the pairs you want. So you can go to more, and you pick out the pairs that you're planning on trading. So I want AUD CAD, Euro USD, NZD USD, don't care about, Euro JPY, just so you can see. So there. Now it's showing me just the pairs I trade. These aren't the pairs I trade. This is just a quick run through. Now it's showing me the spread on the pairs that I use. Include commissions. Put that in. All brokers. There's regulated, unregulated. I definitely go with regulated. But there's the spreads. Pretty nice. So talk, ask, find out what the good brokers are, then come check out the spreads. Any other questions today, guys? Remember, next week we'll go into a we'll go in depth of a little bit more on money management on this. For now, I just highly recommend getting the rules set down, getting used to getting in and out of a trade by the rules. Then once you have that down, you can start fudging it. Honestly, by the rules, you should be able to still pull in some decent pips and make a little bit of money. It's a simple system to use. If you follow the rules, don't get overexcited. The key is waiting for the good setups. Don't jump in. Wait for a good setup. Don't push it. Stick to the rules. Let the system work for you. Once a trade is open, watch. If you're on the 1 minute, once the trade is open, watch that chart like a freaking hawk. Watch for your signs of weakness. If it's a green candle, look for a wick on the bottom. If you see a wick on the bottom, be ready to exit. If there is no wick, you need to watch the fast moving tricks. That's the thin one. And if it turns red, get the hell out of the trade. That's what you need to get yourself conditioned to first. From there, next week we can talk about how to squeeze more pips out of every trade and using a proper stop loss, a proper take profit, and things like that. Other than that, any questions, guys? I hope you enjoyed it. It's a super simple system to use. Watch the recording. Stick to majors, minors if you're risky, and don't touch exotics. Link to everything, including indicators. Let me stop recording and we'll talk about that. Alright, guys, so if there's no questions, it is actually 9 o'clock my time, and this is just a toss in there. I do not trade much on Fridays. I review charts to make sure I'm not doing stupid shit. We'll cover that a little bit next week, too. It's a little bit of getting conditioned to be, I guess you could say, I'm not saying I'm successful, but at least I make money doing this. It's part of what helped me. Review trades on Friday. You should have a time set aside to review everything. I'm not seeing any more questions coming in, guys, so I am going to go ahead and kill it. I hope y'all have a good weekend. Again, once everything's posted up, if you have questions, post them there. If you have charts, post them up. Roman will post up a link where you can post up your charts and the trades you take. But other than that, guys, have a good weekend. I hope you enjoyed the webinar. It's a little bit long, but, oh well. It is what it is. At least you learn. But have a good weekend, everyone.